This section of the series, this lucky last video, is about your health. And instead of going into health, because it's such a deep topic, we're just going to talk about what upsets all kinds of health problems, and that is stress. So this is kind of the number one driver behind any acting out of the body, is the health of your nervous system. So if you think about all these health issues up here, nervous system is here. If this is not regulated, all of these things heightened. As soon as it's regulated, everything settles down. So that's why we're focusing on stress and the nervous system. So the nervous system is that thing that you've never heard about, you've never learned about it in school, but it's the number one driver behind every function in the body, both healthy and unhealthy. Without overcomplicating anything, there are two ways in which your nervous system can exist, and that is in the parasympathetic nervous system or the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is dictated by what we call the vagus nerve, and this is basically the down regulation of the body. So it's bringing the body to a state of safety and relaxation so that healing, rejuvenating, and rest can occur. Then we have the sympathetic arm of the nervous system, and that is when we're stimulated. So we're busy doing stuff, or maybe we've just had a coffee or we're stressed out. This is kind of the sympathetic arm of the nervous system. And just know that outside of that, there's actually extreme versions of that too. So the extreme version of the parasympathetic nervous system is numbing out, dissociating, feeling depressed and fatigued. And then we've got the extreme end of the fight or flight system, which is actually picking fights, bursting into tears for seemingly no reason, running away, playing video games, this kind of thing. So we all fluctuate up and down here. It's triggered by a hormone we call cortisol. So when cortisol is high, we're higher up on the scale. As it becomes low, it's lower on the scale. So we just kind of do this one all day, and you want to stay in this nice little space, and that is perfectly normal functioning. What we don't want is to be shooting up out and shooting back down again, into dissociation and into psychotic fight or flight. So what this is called, that safe window of fight or flight activation and rest and digest, and this little wave that we do on a daily basis, is called the window of tolerance. And in order to remain healthy, alert, aware, safe, happy, have good connections, be creative, all this kind of thing, this all exists within what we call the window of tolerance. When you go outside of that window, your health conditions arise, or dormant health conditions become stimulated. So as you can see now, by managing the nervous system and keeping yourself in that safe window, you're actually going to have a lot more control of your health. So we want to nourish the nervous system. So how do we do that? I'm just going to run off a few tips to get you started, because you've probably heard about all of these, but I'm just going to tell you that they are very important. And then, now maybe you'll kind of understand why you should engage in these activities. So the first one is meditation. You don't have to be good at meditation, you just have to attempt it. So it's one of those things that gets better the more you do it. I was terrible at meditation when I started, and I put it off for years because I thought I had to be good at it in order to get a benefit, but you don't. You just put some type of meditation music, you can get it for free off YouTube, put it in your headphones, cover your ears, cover your eyes so it's really nice and dark, and you just want to imagine flicking your thoughts away. So you're just lying there, think about stuff, just imagine flicking it away. If you have to do that for the whole time that you meditate, that's fine. Because what you're actually doing is teaching the body, these thoughts are actually not that important. These thoughts are actually not that important. These thoughts are actually not that important. So you're trying to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system so that it can put a brake on the fight or flight. So you're just trying to bring yourself down to a nice calm state, and eventually the body starts to regulate this on its own. It does take a while, but you got to start to get any benefit at all, right? The second one is belly breathing. So it's really important to notice, do you breathe into your chest or do you breathe into your belly? So if you kind of put your hands on your chest and you're just breathing, is all the extension happening up here, or is it happening, you can't see me, or is it happening down here in the lower part, in your belly? If it's happening in your belly, fantastic. You're probably in a state of rest and digest. If it's happening in your chest, you're probably in a state of fight or flight. The important thing is to notice does this change throughout the day, or are you always up in your chest? So if you're always up in the chest, you don't have much parasympathetic nervous system activation going. So you should bring in the practice of belly breathing. So all you do is you just lay on your back. It's much easier to do it on your back to start with because all your muscles are relaxed. And you're just breathing in, trying to expand through the belly, and breathing out again. Always breathe in through the nose because that's kind of the natural mechanism of breathing, and out through the mouth. And then further from that, once you master that, you do what we call box breathing, which is where you're just breathing in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and just keep repeating that. And you should feel a shift if you just persist with it. Then we got journaling. So if you're stress head and you have a lot going on up here, it is so valuable to dump that out on paper. It's not so anyone else can read it. It's just so that you get it out of your head. I do it all the time. So I'm on a healing journey at the moment, and every time I feel a little bit cluttered or even have a thought or I'm contemplating, I just start typing. Type. And I just let everything come out. You know, sometimes I read it again later, sometimes I don't. It's a freeing activity for myself, and it helps me get out of that fight or flight and come back down into rest and digest, because now I've offloaded the information, my brain doesn't have to keep thinking about it. Then we have caffeine and sugar management. So caffeine and sugar are those things we turn to when we can't upregulate. So when our cortisol is not functioning optimally. So we kind of grab those things to try and give ourselves a bit of a rush. And then usually we come crashing back down again. So it's being aware of whether you're relying on that and just trying to taper it down a bit so that your body can establish its own energy once again, which it will if you have a pretty healthy diet and if you're doing these other things like meditation and breathing. Then we have a whole food diet, which we covered earlier. Very important. It keeps the body in a safe window. And we want to have alcohol management. So understand that alcohol is a depressant. So most often if you drink a lot of alcohol, it means that you're too high, stuck in fight or flight, and you're actually using it to pull yourself back into that window. But if you bring in something like meditation and breathing practices, then over time, you can get your body down there without relying on the alcohol, and you can have the alcohol for enjoyment. So number one pet peeve with alcohol, or people's overconsumption of it, is the fact that it is directly linked to leaky gut, which is a condition that upsets the gut lining and actually causes food particles to get into your bloodstream, where your body then launches like an immune attack on that. So it spends all day, every day, fighting off the chicken breast you ate for lunch. So it spends all day, every day in this condition fighting off like the chicken breast you ate for lunch, and it's not actually able to take care of anything else. So that's really important, is to watch your gut health. And you can do that through alcohol management, caffeine management, and eating a whole food diet, and lowering stress in general. That's that tip for you. That's the last video of the series. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got lots of valuable information out of it, and I will see you next time.